Welcome to Sharing My Truth with Mel and Suzie, the uncensored version, where we bear it all.
We do.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome back to Sharing My Truth Pod. You're here with Mel and Suzie, and we're about to lay some fucking reality on this right here. Friends with benefits, okay? Happening in 3, 2, 1. Hey, babes, how are ya?
Hello, darling. I am superb.
Wow, that's a new word for us.
It's a very British word, so I thought I'd add it in.
I love it.
I've got to expand the vocabulary on this pod.
Absolutely. Teach the girls how to do it, you know?
Absolument. Yeah.
Oh, speak some French to me, Mel. You know how that turns me on. Well, we're here today, and we're about to talk to something.
Talk to something.
Yeah, talk to something.
Talk to something.
Talk
Yeah,
to,
like
obviously,
it. Yeah.
Talk about something close to my heart, near and dear to my soul, Mel. Something I truly believe in, and something I believe should be in everyday households.
Okay.
And
Go for it.
It's called Friends with Benefits.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, why do I not find that hard to believe?
I truly think that this is something that more people should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I just think generally it probably doesn't work out that well for a lot of people because the people going into it have different things and they don't make that clear.
I mean, obviously, there's movies about this stuff with like Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis or whatever, right? Like, there's all these fucking movies, 2000s movies about it. But I have had so many of these kind of relationships.
Shocking.
I know. And I don't think I've had one that had like ended poorly or like someone didn't have we both knew what it was. We both knew what the relationship was, and that was just sex.
That's
and
great.
We could just fucking hang out, and it wouldn't be weird. It wouldn't be like, oh, but I think I like him. It's like, or like he's like, oh, I really like her. I hope she doesn't just think of me as a friend. Like, no, I think it's like if this is something you're both connecting on and you're both attracted to each other, then you can just do that, and you don't have to kind of make it about something more than anything is there. And I think people have a real problem with that because people think of sex as something that they have to do if they're only in love.
Well, women.
Men too, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think it isn't just women, but I think it does happen a lot because women, we just have this thing where we think we're going to meet a man or he's our friend, and then we think actually no, he could be more, and then you just think you can change their mind, which is stupid.
But you know,
make it something it's not.
But there's a statistic out there that men fall in love easier and faster than women do.
Yeah, we found that. We had that in a previous pod, and I'll have to find that again and link that. But
that's true.
Or they fall in love more at first sight.
But they just fall in love faster and harder, let's say.
But very good.
But
I think that's because of the physicality. Like they attract to a beautiful woman or a good looking woman.
Well, they put sex with love, right? So if a man is like, yeah, I want a friends with benefits, I want to just fuck, and then the girl's like, great, I just want to fuck, and then they get together, they just do that, and then he's like, well, actually, maybe I kind of like you, and she's like, whoa, I actually just used you for sex.
Yeah, no. Look, I think it can. That's the problem. It can happen, can't it? It can happen to the man or the woman.
Absolutely.
And I think we just think that we're able to shut off our feelings and emotions and whatever as human beings, but of course we don't know what's going to happen and how we're going to feel, and that's the problem.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that, Mel. Obviously, there's always bad with the good.
Yeah,
with these kind of relationships.
I think it could be an age thing too. Like, do you think you had these relationships when you were quite young?
Definitely, like 16 to 19,
yeah,
20.
Which is a whole different thing, isn't it?
And honestly, like these people that I've fucked, like when I was younger, like 16 or 19, like pretty much, like I'm still really good friends with these people.
Right.
Like I don't see them on a daily basis because I'm like in Toronto and a lot of these things happened when I was in like the West Coast, but yeah, like I'm still very good friends. Like if I saw them today, it would never be weird. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and if I was single, I'd probably fuck them again and it would be fine and we wouldn't have to be a relationship. And I think it's just a mental block that people have that are like, well, if you have sex, then you probably like them. It's like, no, I'm just using them for their penis.
Very nice.
You
No,
know?
you're physically attracted to them, but you don't have a relationship with them.
Exactly.
They are two very different things. And I think that's the other thing. Like a lot of men and women cannot seem to understand that you don't have to be in love with every person, either that you have sex with or every person that you have a relationship with. There are relationships in your life that can be very meaningful and like great, maybe sexually, emotionally, whatever. But you weren't in love. It's just a thing, and it was good, but you weren't in love because they're all a sort of journey. But I think friends with benefits. I'm not sure how well it works the older you get.
Yes, and that was a great point you made, right? Like it's like because women, we're obviously going to just talk about women because we don't know how men think, but women, like when you turn a certain age, you do have a biological clock ringing going on.
Yes, you do.
So you want to maybe get married. These thoughts are coming into your head a lot more than from when you're 16 to 20.
Yeah, it gets a little kind of I don't want to say desperate. Well, I've just said it, but it does. I think actually the other, if you really want a baby, it is actually a feeling like it sort of pounds inside of you. It's really hard to not want to do it.
Weird.
It's really intense. And I haven't had it in the same way because I had the children, but I know friends of mine who didn't want kids, and all of a sudden their clock was like boom, 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 boom. Like it literally, it surprises you. You just don't realize it. But I one thing I would like to say about friends with benefits is I do think another time when it can work for women is if you are a MILF.
Fuck yeah.
And you've got
Go off,
your
Mel.
and you've got your, you know, your life is sorted, your finances. You don't need a man really for any of that stuff. And you just want to have sex. And I think that's completely, it could work really well.
Absolutely.
If you don't, maybe you want to just maybe do some stuff together, like, you know, go for dinner, or you're going to one of those kind of parties where you need a plus one.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody's your friend, I think that's really great. And then you have sex, but you're not really in a relationship. But I think that's an interesting one, is that the young men can then often become quite attached. And I've seen that to the older woman, and they're like, no, I don't want a relationship with you. No, thanks.
Yeah.
I just want to have a bit of, you know.
Oh, I know, Mel.
But I'm trying to think in my murky past. It's not murky.
Ooh.
In the murky distant past is what I mean. Friends with benefits. I can't actually think of where really I had relationships where that was successful. I had, you know, a few casual relationships, like, you know, where it was just sex. It wasn't anything.
You weren't friends with them.
No. But it wasn't bad and end badly.
Yeah.
Which,
It was just like one night stands.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. Or maybe 2 nights, you know, where
2 night stands.
it's more than once. Sort of thing. But I think that's fine.
They're just a fuck. They're not your friend. They just fuck.
But I think that's part of being young.
Absolutely it is.
And it goes back to this thing. And I'm still actually, I find I get very shocked when people talk about sex, and they talk about, especially if they're old like me and they've got kids, and they get sort of very surprised, and you're like, what the fuck were you doing when you were 16, 17, 18? Were you like living in a convent I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What do you think people do? What do you think young people do?
Exactly.
What the fuck were you doing? You were fucking...
Thank you, Mel.
You know, and it just stopped being so prudish. It's so bizarre. I find it so strange.
Yeah, like we know what these kids are doing.
Yeah, it's totally normal.
Yeah.
And that is what you're going to want to do. You want to... It's self-discovery. You got to figure out who you are. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to make mistakes in all parts of your life, including your sex life. And then you're going to figure out what you do want and what you don't want.
Yeah. And like, that's also like, when I met my boyfriend, it was like, we could have just been friends with benefits. Like he pursued it as not. I didn't want a relationship at the time.
Right.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was actually concerned. I was like, I just moved to a new city. I don't want to lock myself down. I want to go have fun. But Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes things just work out
Of
and you
course
don't
they do.
expect them to.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a big thing with friends with benefits. If you have these expectations
Yes.
within that relationship, and that's like any relationship, you're just going to be disappointed. It's like, you're like, oh, well, like maybe he's going to fall in love with me because I'm sucking his dick. It's like, no, but he just actually thinks of you as a friend and he doesn't care about wanting an actual relationship
Yeah.
with you. He's not, you guys are still going to go out for drinks. He's not going to pay for your drinks all of a sudden because you guys are having sex.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Of
But I
course
think a
not.
lot of women are like, maybe one day he'll think of me as something else. It's like, why are you wasting your time?
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
like to stand up and hand of applause. Hand of applause? Yeah. I'm baffled. I think that's a good word.
Baffled.
Continually baffled by the way men allow themselves to be treated by women and women allow themselves to be treated by men.
Yeah.
Like, you are a grown-ass person.
Yeah.
You do not need some second-rate kind of love situation.
Yeah.
You should go and find the best. And in the meantime, go and live your life.
Absolutely.
Don't settle for some stupid situation. And it's okay if it was just sex, or it's okay. I mean, it's really not a big deal, is it?
No, I don't think it's a big deal at all. I think sex is literally like anything else. It's like an experience. And that's
Yes.
literally like
100%.
you went to soccer one day, you liked it, you didn't like it. You know what I
100%.
mean? Like, you do
100%.
these new things all the time, whether it's good or it's bad. It's like you learn from it.
100%. And it's just not a big deal.
Yes.
But I just think people are not very capable of being very honest, which is actually quite sad. Like, we're talking about friends with benefits, so we're assuming you were friends before.
Mm-hmm.
And the one person takes it completely at face value, like, yeah, great, I find you attractive, so I'd like to have sex with you, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person says, yeah, I think that's a great idea, but they really don't mean it.
Yeah.
And I think statistically it's
Like,
probably
they want a
more often
relationship.
women, but
Yeah.
it isn't exclusively. That's a huge generalization to say that that's the case. And they want a relationship, they just don't fess up to it,
Mhm.
own up to it. And then that's when the mess happens. And you're just like, you've got to know that that's going to be an enormous disaster if this person is telling you this is all I want from the outset, and you want something else. I mean, come on, they're not going to suddenly fall meaningfully, desperately in love with you. They're just
No.
not.
And it obviously, like, these things happen. These things might
They do.
happen.
They do.
But don't expect anything to be like come about of this. Like,
Yeah.
you're just gonna like
No, it's just
it's like people I think also don't realize and these there might have to be rules. If you're a rules person, there may
Yeah.
have to be rules before you engage in something as like if you wanted to think it was meaningful as sex kind of thing. Like, there should be like, oh, you don't want them to sleep with anyone else. Well, that's probably not going to happen with a friends with benefits relationship,
well, it seems
right?
like an absurd rule.
Exactly. Like, they're probably having sex with a lot more people. And then if they get into a relationship when you guys are in this friends with benefits thing, they're obviously, you guys have to stop having sex. Maybe, if that's something.
I think that's a very good idea.
But like, are you going to be upset about that if they stop having sex with you? I think there's like a lot of things to think about within this. And that's why obviously
100%.
these rules and these boundaries might be important to you.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is also if you are friends with benefits and it's a kind of a long ongoing thing, because sometimes it goes on for many years, you know, is that it doesn't stop you from meeting other people, and you don't like just do that thing and then don't do anything else and don't actually go out and meet the person you really do want to be more than friends with. You've got to be very careful, right? And I think a lot of people can fall into that trap.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, like, if it's hard, like, you don't want to, like, as women, we don't want to disappoint people, I think, a lot of the time. And so it's like,
I think
oh, this person is wanting to have sex with me all the time. He really thinks I'm cute. He likes the way I have sex. Then it's like, I want to make him happy. Because I think we just innately do that. We don't think about it.
I think young women do.
Yeah,
I think when you
of
start out,
course.
you do that. And then you realize, oh no, that's not what I should be doing.
But then if these people are like being like, oh yeah, come over all the fucking time. And you're like, well, I actually just want to meet someone else. Then you have to make sure that you're being taken care of too.
yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with that. But I think you have to be very clear in your head and don't fall down the sort of trap of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can happen. Like you start out and you think, well, nothing else is happening, so maybe this could be more. And I think women can often do that. And you're like, why? Why?
Yeah.
My question is always why. I'm again going to use the word baffled. Perpetually baffled. That sounded very British, didn't it?
It did.
Perpetually baffled at the shit people put up with.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you putting up with it? I
Yeah.
don't get it. Go on, and there are many fish in the sea.
There truly are. I lost my virginity to a friends with benefits person.
I actually think that's quite a good idea.
I think so,
I do
too.
get that too. Because I think of like friends where that's happened. I think of my own situation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was with a boyfriend. And I actually think because it was, and he was older than me,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't that caring about it. And I think it set me on a path because that's the way I started. Whereas if I'd been with somebody who was perhaps older, but maybe just a friend,
Mm-hmm.
and was like really kind of more of an educator, like helped you, it would have been so much healthier.
Yeah.
And I've seen that with friends who've had lost their virginity to somebody who was obviously helpful if they're more experienced,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a nice situation. It was like, yeah, friends situation. I think it's actually, it can set you on a completely different path.
I think it's great. Like I mean, you know, you're so young, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm almost positive, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm almost positive he was a virgin too, so it was like both of ours.
Right.
He's a little bit older than me, but like it was just like, yeah, this is great. Just kind of don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
You're kind of, you know each other well enough where you know that the other person's not going to fuck you over with this kind of thing. And you can kind of just like laugh about it after if you're friends kind of thing. So it's like,
I completely agree.
it's a positive experience.
I completely agree. And I think I think about my own case is that when you're very young and you're with a boyfriend and you are trying to please them, and I don't just mean sexually, I mean please them, you're trying to be probably most of the time something that you're not.
Yeah.
Or trying to make it as if you're, you know, better or whatever more than you are. Whereas if you were with a friend, you wouldn't have to do all of that shit. You could just do what you're doing, as it were. And that, you know, the likelihood of you meeting somebody when you're whatever age you lose your virginity, from sort of 14 to 18, that you're actually going to stay with that person is like, come on, extremely unlikely.
And also, like, why do you want to do that?
No, I mean, but it happens because if you meet the person, you meet the person, right?
I don't know.
You don't believe
I
it.
think maybe you meet the person, but you go off and have other experiences and then you come back to that person.
I mean,
I believe in that, sure.
I think that would be better. I mean, to stay with one person from that age,
Oh my God.
especially in this day and age.
Oh my God. That sounds horrible.
That's all I've got to say to that. I've got a funny thing here, though, that I'm going to
Please,
mention.
Mel.
So this is from Grindr.
No, it's not.
It is. So I thought this would be an interesting segue into Grindr's definition.
Okay, well, wait, hold
with
on.
benefits.
So that's funny. So do gay people have friends with benefits?
I'm sure they do, of course.
And then like lesbians have friends with benefits? And then like,
well, you're asking me. Why are you asking me?
because you're obviously a MILF of the gays.
I would think, yeah, I would actually think that lesbians and gays are much better at it because they're better at pleasure. This is statistical fact.
Yes.
And I think they're probably smarter at it. I mean,
it's like
could be a generalization.
if we're generalizing, women are more emotional and they want relationships. Are lesbians just fucked then because they just like want these relationships out of these friends with benefits? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I've never given that any thought.
Well,
whatsoever,
we're giving
so
it some
I
thought.
can't
If
really
you guys
answer.
are gay, lesbian, you
Let
want
us
to,
know.
But tune into this, let us know.
I thought this was funny. So, what does Grindr say?
Yeah, what do they say?
This is the title of the article
Okay.
in their blog. What does friends with benefits mean? Fuck buddies, obviously we know that. Bum chums, I mean, I guess that's
In the gay world, sure.
very relevant. Yes. Okay, you're gonna have to help me here. FWBs.
Yeah, friends with benefits.
Oh
no.
yeah.
It was a real Gen X moment. I'm obsessed with that.
These stupid fucking short. I have to
Oh my
sit
God,
there like an old
so
lady.
Fucking funny.
And then you might as well have just spelt out the proper bloody
Yeah.
word. Learn the ins and outs of friends with benefits relationships, aka pals getting together for some no commitment hanky panky.
I love that Grindr had to do an entire article about this.
Yeah, I mean it's really quite hilarious. And what are the 6 types of? Ooh, yes. So friends with benefits when you're actually friends. I didn't know this was subcategories.
Oh, I had no idea either.
So you're actually, and there's a whole description here. I don't think we have time for that. Fuck buddies. Now that's interesting. The fuck buddy. The term friends is used very loosely. This is someone who'd call exclusively for hookups or casual sex. So as far as I'm concerned, that's not a friends with benefits.
No, that's a fuck buddy.
Is different to a friends with benefits.
Yeah, it's just like
That's
your
in its
chum.
own.
So your
That's
fuck chum.
Yeah, I think that's I think a fuck buddy, you quite likely will do this thing and then not see them again. They're not friends. I think that's different, isn't it?
Your fuck buddy is someone who it's a booty call.
Yeah.
That's a booty call.
But then you may do it for a bit and then you don't know them after that.
Who cares? Bye.
I don't know why I'm looking at like the stepping stone
To a relationship?
How many of us have hooked up with someone then become buddies afterwards?
Oh, so
have you
like
done that? Have you had sex and then become friends?
I'm sure I have.
I mean, friendly. I wouldn't say friends. I'd say friendly. Maybe.
No, I've definitely.
But this is a long time ago, so I don't.
Mine
really know.
too. But I feel like it's kind of easier to be friends with someone after you have sex with them if there's no expectations because you're like, well, we got that over with.
That's true.
And now you can
That's true.
just be friends.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think. Yeah, exactly. I don't think that's weird at all. So, the natural order, number 4, the natural order. What does that mean? First comes screwing, then comes a romantic relationship. That's what they're trying to say there.
First comes screwing, then comes the That's what you're
This was
saying.
their category 4, the natural order.
Yes.
So you have sex and then you have a relationship.
Yeah.
Of course that does happen. Of course it happens. Yeah.
That's pretty much what happened with
Most people.
with myself and my boyfriend.
A lot of people. Well, the thing that's funny today, I find with Gen Xers, is that they actually...
Like your Gen?
No, not Gen Xers, sorry, Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Is that they have to say to each other, would you like to be my boyfriend or girlfriend?
Ew, that is so cringe to me.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Still, but what do you
They
mean?
actually
They don't do
say
that
it
anymore.
out loud. Yes, they do. They say, would you like... They actually ask each... Well,
No, because I remember doing that in like middle school.
no, they ask each other. Well, they're Gen Z. They're the oldest
Yeah, but-
they are is 25. So they actually say it. I can't think of a single time when I said it out loud.
Shut the fuck
You
up.
just- You just be it. You are it.
Yeah, like...
No, they say it. They do say it.
Well, no, you know what millennials do for that? We go, what are we? They ask that question. It's not, do you want to be my boyfriend? It's, what are we? What is this? What is this we're doing? We're fucking. Are we
Right.
Are we
What
in a
are
relationship?
we?
What are you my boyfriend? What's going
What
on?
are we?
And then it becomes awkward, and that's how millennials do it. We avoid, and then we ask the question that's uncomfortable.
Ah.
What did Gen X do? They don't do anything. They just accept that you're now someone's girlfriend.
No, I just think we're it. We just did it. We were, obviously that's what's happening. Don't have to write a fucking essay about it. So number 5 is the exit strategy. As anyone who has ever had sex with an ex will attest, this is also how some relationships are phased out. It's the circle of life. Just because things haven't worked out romantically for you, that doesn't mean you can't satisfy your other needs via a FWB.
Right. So like this is like
Relationship.
after a relationship, you get into the friends with benefits.
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot to people who get divorced. As they get divorced and then they sort of might have sex again and then... Oh, it doesn't happen very often. Certainly didn't, but it does happen.
Right.
But I generally think that is definitely not a good thing. It's somebody still
I've definitely
holding
done
a
that
torch.
before where it's like, it's not... And then it just keeps going. Like, why are you still having sex with this person?
It's
like,
not good. It's negative. I
It's
think.
not. It's just not.
Move
yeah,
on.
the sex is not that good. You can get the hell out of there. You can find someone new.
Well, what's the point?
What's
I mean,
the point?
So the final one in this article is the backup plan. You know how it goes. You're in a club. You've had a few cocktails. Padam. Sorry, that's Grinder. It's playing in the background. What the fuck's Padam?
Oh, Mel.
What the fuck's Padam?
It's okay. We'll look it up
Is it a
after
song?
this. Yeah, it's a song.
Okay. Is it something I should know?
We'll look it up when we have Manhattans upstairs.
Okay, sounds good. Alas, neither of you has managed to reel in any fresh fish. But it's okay because you've got a safety net. It might not sound like the sexiest of propositions, but as long as everyone gets laid at the end of the night, it's certainly better than a slap in the face with a wet kipper. An English person wrote this for
I'm
sure.
obsessed with this.
Is Grindr English?
I don't know. Mel, you should know that.
I should know. I'm actually
You
definitely
should
going
know
to
this,
find that
Mel.
afterwards. I mean, it may surprise you to know that I have not spent much time on Grindr, other than this article.
That is surprising me.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Wait, so what was the last one?
That was it. Bloody hell, after all that. The backup plan.
Oh, so you're just calling someone
Yeah, but isn't that just a
a booty call
too?
So fuck, but it's all the same fucking shit.
It is. It's just whether you are friends to start with or you end up or are able to remain friends afterwards. I mean, basically is essentially it,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I think just don't take it too seriously.
Oh my God, no. But I think that, exactly. But I think you as a person are very capable. I mean, I don't know. This must just be in your DNA or something. You can separate all these things, like your emotions, that sex is the thing that you do in part of a bodily function, if you like, to make it sound
Which
very
it is.
unsexy, which it is. It's a bodily function. Most people need it in varying different forms. That's it. It doesn't have to be emotional.
Yes.
But obviously when it is emotional, yeah, it probably is much better, but it doesn't always have to be. But most people are not capable of doing what you can do.
I believe in the separation of church and state.
The separation of... Very good, Susie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, the separation of my pussy and my head.
Very good.
Why do they have to combine?
Because I think for most women...
They're separate
and men,
entities.
they connect.
The pussy doesn't lie, Mel.
We know this.
And if the pussy wants what the pussy wants, then that's what she wants. You know what I mean? And the head doesn't have to agree.
No, although sometimes it really should.
She's the church and my head is the state.
Wow.
And these two don't have to always align. They don't have to combine. They just have to live in harmony and peace.
Wow. I think
I just solved for peace.
I think
You just,
I think you really have. This would be very helpful, especially at the moment.
you know?
But okay, I'm not really sure what else I have after that.
You know, it doesn't connect with you at all. Yours has to be together. The head and
No,
the heart
I completely agree with you.
and the pussy has to be
It depends
together.
on the person.
I know.
I mean, of course it doesn't have to align.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it would be helpful sometimes if you are with a complete arsehole that your head was in the game, and that
Yeah.
often isn't the case.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, what is going... I mean, you know, what is going on? It goes back to my earlier statement. Some people, what is going on that you put up with this? Grown-ass man, a grown-ass woman.
Mhm.
Why? I don't get it. Unless he or she is extremely rich and buying you Chanel morning,
That's
noon,
what
morning, noon,
Mel
and-
would do, hey?
morning, noon, and night. Then you might put up with it. But really, I don't think so. I mean, it'd have to be a lot of Chanel.
That's amazing. That's
A
how
lot.
Mel would put up with it. Is if the
A
only
lot
reason is
of Chanel.
Chanel. That is so funny to me. Oh my
No,
gosh.
I mean, yeah, no. But people put
But
up
yeah.
with so much. I have so many stories of that I can't. I don't even know where to begin.
I know.
And it's not people of my age exclusively. I'd like to caveat that. It's people in general. What they put up with in relationships or whatever they're doing. And I just don't even know why they're doing it. I just
know.
don't get it. Anyway, got nothing to do with friends with benefits, but it does, sometimes people start with friends with benefits. They sort of literally fall into a relationship.
yeah.
And I think that can often happen because one person really wants it and the other person just can't be asked to disagree.
Yeah.
So they sort of fall into it. And then it's just, excuse my language, a fucking catastrophe.
It really is.
And I don't get it. What's the point?
I think you just have to put some emotions aside. You have to be like, why am I feeling so emotional about this? Right? Like you have to kind of think about why you're feeling these things.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think people do that enough. I don't think people think, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling angry about this? Why am I feeling anxious about this? Why am I feeling sad about this? It's like, why am I not and then in those reasons, it's usually because you don't feel like you're getting enough out of something. Like you feel like you're being taken advantage of sometimes. So
Yeah.
it's like, let's just go back. If you're not feeling like this is worth it to
Yeah.
your mental health and your,
Move on.
orgasms, move on.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of ways to do that, as we know. And, you surely, if you're an adult, if you're over the age of 18 or 19, you surely can differentiate the feeling of attraction towards somebody and attraction plus emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Surely.
No, not men.
No, that's true. Maybe
They
not.
don't. Their brain doesn't develop until they're like 25.
Does it not?
No. Is that not insane to think about? Let's just give them a break. Ladies, don't expect anything out of these people.
Yeah, I think women can be a little bit tough on men.
Yeah, of course
can't
they can.
We just, it's not fair what we're expecting.
It's just like, let's just
On the other hand, you can make it very clear. That's what I did. Make it very clear.
make it very clear. We're fucking, we're getting married, we're having babies, and you are going to buy me Chanel. And she got all those things.
It worked for me. I mean, not to be, belabor the point, but it did work for me.
Well, I feel like that does kind of give our listeners a little insight into how to make this work. Friends with benefits, be clear about what you want.
That's it.
That's
Be clear
literally
about
it.
what you want. And if at any point it does not become clear, then move on to the next friend.
Yeah, exactly, Mel. You got it. Mel's got it, so you guys have to now.
Yeah. I mean, if I get it, frankly, everyone else will get it. Anyway.
Oh, God. Well, we love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to rate and review this pod, like this little podcast, get the downloads on going. Visit us at sharingmytruthpod.com.
Sharingmytruth.com.
Sharingmytruth.com. Sharingmytruthpod on Instagram.
Yes, very good.
Thank you.
That's excellent.
Okay, guys, we'll see you next week. We love ya. Sharing My Truth Pod is so excited to partner with Vibrator.com, where the A in vibrator is the number 8. This is an extremely exclusive code where no other podcast has it. If you go to Vibrator.com right now, use the code MS15, that's MS15 at Vibrator.com. You can now get 15% off anything in store. That's any sex toys for you, your partner, your neighbor, your mom. We don't judge. We don't care. Get it now. Go to the link in our bio, put in the code, and get jiggy with it.
Thanks so much for listening. Please rate and review this podcast and follow us on social at Sharing My Truth Pod, and leave us a voicemail on our website, sharingmytruth.com, to share your stories and experiences with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.